Podcast Network Asia.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, a.k.a. Austin Creed.
I said give me a hell yeah!
Hey, this is Vega.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Talent is not sexually transmitted.
You need to go back to the drawing board because your game absolutely sucks!
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I'm Lewis Howley. I'm Sam Spoker. We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the star, the NXT UK champion, and you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the longest-running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stancy, Romaran, and Emil ASH checking in for another audio-only episode. This is just the third of 4 episodes that we're releasing this week. Just look at us just pumping out so much content kasi ang daming ganap in the world of wrestling. And this is the Picks of the Week episode. So if you have any picks that you'd like to contribute to the conversation, then make sure you hit us up at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok as we share with you our favorite wrestling matches of the week. Now, we've got a lot of stuff going on. There's a big event, a big party we want you to be a part of. And of course, we want you to join our growing Wrestling Podcast Patreon community. So Emil ASH, let them know what's happening over in our Patreon community.
All right, so if you want to get the full Wrestling Podcast experience, you can do that by subscribing to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast, where you can subscribe for as low as $5 or in a local currency, it's around 275 pesos. Madaming perks ang pag-subscribe sa aming Patreon. Of course, we got the Discord server, which you can interact with your fellow podcast and talk to us about anything under the sun. Of course, you can talk to us about wrestling since we are the Wrestling Podcast, but you can also talk to us about everything that you like, maybe sports, food, fashion, memes. You could also talk to other patrons as well of our Patreon, and watch parties as well. We also do watch parties sometimes on our Discord server. So if you want to experience that, you could do that by joining our Patreon. And also we got our Pasabays, which the last one just finished last month. Hindi ko pa nakuha yung sa akin, but soon sana makuha ko. And if you want to join the next one, and get your authentic wrestling merch, you could get it through us. And also the review content for the weekly wrestling shows like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and some local wrestling events as well, courtesy of Rowan. And by subscribing to our Patreon, you're supporting everything that we do here on the pod. So please subscribe again to our Patreon at patreon.com/Wrestling Podcast for as low as $5.
All right, thanks for that, Emil ASH. Let's also let the people know that we've got another viewing party coming up in a few weeks as we look to crown a new WWE World Heavyweight Champion at Night of Champions.
Yon. It's not just a viewing party, it is another live and in-person viewing party. So yun nga, we will be crowning a new World Heavyweight Champion. And it's going to be a big party. It's a big event, big occasion because syempre, we're going to have a new world champion. And you can watch that with us and your favorite creators from Geek Talk PH over at our Night of Champions watch party at Hobby Stadium on the night of Saturday, May 27th. So, syempre, that is Saudi Arabia time. So, unfortunately, we will have to start rather late in the evening. But I think that's going to be better for all of us. Like I said, we don't have to wake up early and run on a lack of sleep. We can just sleep in on the Sunday morning after. So all you got to do is subscribe, buy your tickets rather on the incoming snack.ph link. It should be snack.ph/geektalkph, snack.ph/GEKTALKPH. We will be having early bird pricing, 400 pesos if you buy now, and then if you choose to walk in, it's going to be 500 pesos for you. So Please come join us. It will be fun. We'll have a lot of fun cheering on whoever the new World Heavyweight Champion will be. See you there.
Yeah, so it's either Seth Rollins or TBA kung sino man ang mag-advance from the SmackDown side of the bracket. For those of you who are saying na, puro South na lang yung mga viewing party, Hobby Stadium's actually in New Manila.
Yes.
84 Doña Hemedy Street, New Manila. So for yung mga taga Scout area or New Manila people, Tomas Morato, yan, malapit yan sa inyo.
Yung mga iba dyan, mas gustong maglakad papunta sa Hobby Stadium, mas madali para sa kanila. Yung...
Yeah, that's your spot, all right? And I actually received my call time na for Night of Champions. So we're setting up around 11:30 p.m. Manila time, and the show starts at 1 a.m. Manila time.
Oh boy. Sige.
Oh, wow.
Walang tulugan, Master Showman.
We will have to tell everyone that. Syempre, yun ang update. So, syempre, it's gonna be fun. It's like a sleepover. It's like a slumber party, diba? If you will, with other
wrestling fan kasama mo.
Yeah, diba? I mean,
for
like,
better or worse.
Mas okay yung walang tulugan kesa sa sa maagang gising.
Makes me wonder kung nakatabi mo sobrang anghit tapos hindi ka makatulog dahil doon. Is that a good thing?
I mean, God. I mean, kulang na lang sa slumber party na to is yung banyo para maligo eh.
Yeah. So see you there. May 28, 1 a.m. Manila time for Night of Champions, which you can also catch on Disney Plus with hopefully sana may Tagalog commentary na we're hoping, manifesting that. Anyway, let's get to our picks of the week. We're going to start with Chino's, and this is the firm deletion from Rampage nung May 5 US time. And as Chino says, it is AEW's attempt of bringing the Broken Universe into their canon, or bringing it back actually. Kasi Broken Matt was already part of canon ng 2020 pa lang, diba, ng Stadium Stampede. But this time, medyo nag-expand ulit yung Broken Universe. You've got Isaiah Cassidy, who's now Matt Hardy's tag team partner for the moment. Jeff Hardy or Brother Nero, of course, he's there. There's Hook. And then kalaban nila yung Firm. With the focus being on Matt Hardy and Ethan Page. And I actually enjoyed it. This is the type of thing na pag pinanood mo ng, kunwari, nakainom ka or, nakapag 420 ka, mas may enjoy mo siya. Kasi sobrang kagaguhan lang siya talaga, di ba? Like, Stokely Hathaway getting ambushed by the Hardy kids. That really popped me. Or Isaiah Cassidy moaning from the roof of the shed and then executing a swanton bomb from the top. Or King Maxwell doing his own swanton bomb. Holy crap. Medyo nakakagago siya in a nice way, I guess. A lot of references as well to the final deletion, the OG one, yung insert name here, I knew you'd come.
Yeah.
Or yung mga fireworks na ginagamit bilang barel. Si Vanguard 1 made an appearance. Wala nang dilapidated boat. But Senor Benjamin was there too,
yeah,
diba?
Senor Benjamin.
Yeah, he's back.
I popped for Senor Benjamin using a taser on Stokely. That was pretty cool. And Rebecca Hardy being more active in this
actually
cinematic
wrestling,
match as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diba? That was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like the spots that you mentioned specifically. Yung anything that involves Stokely was funny.
Yeah.
Anything that also involves Isaiah was also funny. But if you know the context of it, if you know the context between that resulted in this match, and then if you know the context of the past deletion matches, this one just doesn't hold up to it, to that history, that body of work of the deletion matches. One, the commentary threw me off. The deletion match should not have commentary. Diba?
Yeah. Even Randy Orton tuloy, Bray Wyatt versus Matt Hardy, diba? Wala rin commentary.
Yeah, exactly. That ng pandemic era cinematic matches were not supposed to have commentary because they were supposed to stand on their own as literal cinema, right? So this felt super weird. It was because I knew that syempre Excalibur had to sign off at the end of the show, right? So I guess there was that. But that took me further out of the deletion feel. It was just okay, this was not like the rest of them. And the fact that it was versus the Firm, which is honestly not even a C-tier story in the grand scheme of AEW's creative right now, that took me out of it as well. When it was first announced, I already said that the Firm does not deserve a deletion match. They're not that guys. No, they really aren't. I'm sorry. This is Ethan Page's thing. It's right up his wheelhouse, pero they did not build that up, and none of them were as big as stars as they could be for this match to really take off. So kaya siya nasa Rampage. That's why it was a main event of Rampage, because it was really a second or third tier happening in AEW's larger story right now. But syempre, it's still fun. If you've never seen a match like this before, it's still pretty fun. Like the stuff you mentioned, the hilarious stuff, it's a lot better when it's absurd. I felt like there was a lot more wrestling in this Deletion match than in previous Deletion matches, so parang it felt more like a wrestling focused Deletion match for me, and not so much a funny cinematic match. But I think if you take it in a vacuum, if you haven't seen a Deletion match in a while, it's still pretty fun, I guess.
And a question for the both of you, since you've seen it na rin. What did you think of both Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy toggling between their two gimmicks in just that one match? Because he was broken Matt one second, then the next second he was normal Matt, and then Isaiah Cassidy would become Brother Zay midway through the match.
It's okay, Emil, you go first.
I think it's fine because of the context of the match as well. I mean, it's a Deletion match now. Everything goes, so even people switching gimmicks is really for me acceptable in a setting like that. So I have no problems with it whatsoever.
Ako na kasi, syempre, the Deletion matches were supposed to be a broken Matt Hardy thing, right? That's his brainchild. It's where he goes to when he wants to really punish his nemesis at the moment, diba? So it was weird when the match was made by normal Matt Hardy. So alam naman natin lahat na it's all part of his collective persona, his collective character, his many faces of Matt Hardy, diba, if you will. But it is still kind of weird that he would do a Deletion match as his normal self, and then suddenly arbitrarily go to the broken Matt Hardy character. So I felt like there was a lot of fumbling with regard to the storyline, just so you can, have a Deletion match once more.
Yeah, there was also this one bit na lahat sila nag-aaway by the ring inside Matt Hardy's garage, and then you could see one of the videographers shooting footage. So that kind of took me out of the field din. Kasi in the other Deletion matches, you would never see yung prod, di ba? So medyo nakakatanggal ng suspension of disbelief. And this is me trying my best not to nitpick. It's just that it really took me out of the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to nitpick it. I think from the start, from the jump before this match even happened, there was a lot to nitpick about them going here, because I'm assuming just a couple of the guys, and syempre the younger guys, wanted to do a Deletion match after having seen it in TNA.
Yeah, everyone's looking for that viral moment, diba? Kind of like Grayson Waller. So there was that. There was the firm Deletion. In some corners of the internet, diba, they would say it was a choice.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next pick. This one's from Emil from last week's episode of NXT.
Yeah. All right. So my pick goes to JD McDonagh versus Dragon Lee from last week's NXT, and this was a swan song for one JD McDonagh as he got drafted to Raw, of course, in the draft, and now he is moving to Raw starting this week. And also this continues a great string of matches that Dragon Lee's been having ever since he made his NXT debut. So another great match under the belt for one Dragon Lee. It was a terrific match. Definitely, it was longer than your typical NXT match, in my opinion. Like, it really went siguro longer than a normal NXT match would, and these two really went all out and delivered big time on this in this match. And now that JD is moving on to the main roster, on the other hand, for Dragon Lee, I'm interested as to where he goes from here, because they've been teasing this feud between Dragon Lee and Noam Dar. So are they gonna bring back the Heritage Cup? Because I would love to see Dragon Lee.
It's already part of NXT canon.
No, I saw this. I saw this article. Sorry, yeah. I saw this article that said that Shawn Michaels would like to have the Heritage Cup defended on NXT, which is a weird choice of words, because you're the guy who makes this all happen. So why would you say you would like it unless he was just selling kayfabe? Okay. Noam Dar says he wanted to defend it, diba? Or he's parading it around.
Because I thought props nila lang yon yung Heritage Cup.
Okay.
But now like siguro I want the Heritage Cup to be defended, and I want Dragon Lee to compete in it. So there.
Hey man, it's Chekhov's cup, so if it's there, you know they're gonna defend it.
Hindi lang yun, there were vignettes actually promoting heritage rules and the Heritage Cup.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
So if you have all of these things, then I highly doubt magre-reverse course sila and biglang, nope, no one, Dar's not defending anything. Sorry pero like logic tells me na you build something up, definitely may payoff yun.
Yeah. No, he got you there, Emil. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
So about this match, it was pretty fun. It was again, if you haven't been watching NXT regularly, and I know I tend to miss a few episodes every now and then because I get too busy, right? But these over the past year, over the past 6 or so months, they've been adding so many veteran talent that it really is feeling like NXT Black and Gold of old again. So there is the veteran talent, and then there's still the rookie talent, right? So a lot of it is good, and syempre we get at least one veteran indie matchup of the week, and this was one of them. And syempre, when you put Dragon Lee and JD McDonagh together, you're in for a banger or a match of the night. Even though that wasn't my personal match of the night from last week's NXT.
I actually pencil booked this match as my pick of the week, and then I remembered, may Backlash pa nga pala. So I waited, and I'm glad that I did, because a lot of our picks of the week are going to come from Backlash, and we'll talk all about that after the break. So before we take said break, any last thoughts on JD versus Dragon Lee?
Wala naman. I guess with regard to the draft, I kind of wish that someone else was also taken along with JD McDonagh, like another veteran. Syempre, Grayson Waller's a veteran, but he's not like a veteran the same way like Ilya Dragunov or Joe Coffey is, Yun lang naman.
Eto, I've been following some of the rumors coming out of the draft, and one of them is that there is a JD for JD movement taking place behind the scenes. So baka raw i-draft ng Judgment Day si JD McDonagh. So what do you guys think about that prospect?
This was because he is closely tied to Finn Balor as a wrestler. Mm-hmm. And as much as possible, because I didn't want JD and Jordan Devlin from before to get too close to Finn Balor, because when you do that, you can easily tell that Jordan Devlin was Finn Balor light. And even though I'm sure he wasn't intending that, the build, the ethnicity, even some of the style really harkens back to Finn. So unless he is gonna change the way he presents himself and even wrestles, I am not too hot about JD for JD.
Ikaw, Emil, what do you think about this one?
I would kind of agree with Ro, kasi nung una talaga when Jordan Devlin first made his WWE debut nung UK Cup tournament, people were really calling him Finn Balor light, and they were really comparing him a lot to Finn Balor. And it took years for him to cultivate his own niche, his own persona in WWE. And now we just know him as JD McDonagh. We rarely even compare him to Finn Balor at this point. So as much as possible, I want him to continue doing his own thing rather than be associated with someone that he's being compared a lot with.
Yeah, we'll see where JD's post-draft path takes him, since he is on the same show as the Judgment Day. Only time will tell if JD for JD will be a good thing or not. Let's take that break. On the other side, our picks of the week from WWE Backlash. But first, a quick word from our other podcasts on Podcast Network Asia. And we're back, so let's get right to it and talk about Backlash. Let's start with Rowan's pick, which is the sentimental favorite, I guess, for a lot of people who caught the show. It was the SmackDown Women's Championship match between Rhea Ripley and Zelina Vega. So, for someone like Rowan, for example, who hasn't really seen a whole lot of Zelina Vega, he still kind of thinks of her as an NPC kasi diba lagi siyang valet dati ni Andrade, then later Legado del Fantasma. But it was a very emotional outing for her, especially when they made references to her dedicating the match to her late father, how her parents emigrated from Puerto Rico, tapos her father actually passed away, diba, in the September 11 attacks. So there was a lot of extra meaning heading into this match. Na, like kami ni Carlo, when we were on commentary, we really did our best to sell that kasi that was really the emotional hook of that match. I was kind of surprised that the match was shorter than I thought it would be, but it wasn't like I had any illusions naman that Rhea would lose her first title defense. All in all, though, I appreciated how it really tugged at the heartstrings. And Zelina had her moment at the end where Rhea just left her to have the ring and the crowd could just shower her with love.
First of all, I popped nung yung chinelas when she went out of the ring and held yung what did they call that in commentary? I forgot. The local term for it, pero yun.
Chancla?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. So I popped for that. And this could have been easily a squash match, pero I like that they at least build Zelina as at least as a credible challenger by, doing all like giving her all the references Puerto Rico and really building her up on commentary as well. So at least hindi siya nagmukhang squash, even though we all know Rhea Ripley would easily, defeat Zelina Vega in a one-on-one match. So, credits to both of them. I think they really delivered on this one.
Okay, so Stan mentioned that the match was short. I actually have thoughts on that. I was really watching this before we came on air. And I noticed that Zelina Vega seems to be like the female version or the women's division version of a celebrity wrestler, like a Bad Bunny or a Logan Paul. So what I mean by that is basically she is scripted to feature her well. She's scripted to look really good by having her hit big moves. Tapos she'll look good for a while and then she'll eat whatever offense to lose. Diba? So Stan, you told me that that was a backhanded compliment, and
yeah.
you thought that I was implying that Zelina was a bad wrestler. It's not necessarily her being a bad wrestler, because if she was a bad wrestler, she would not execute new spots well. Like she was all there for it. She was just she nailed everything perfectly. I think that's why she also managed to gather like a huge momentum and support from the hometown fans. But otherwise, it was she wrestled it in a way that reminds me a lot of inexperienced local wrestlers, in which you really choreograph a lot of what you'll do in the ring, and then you hit those spots one after the other, and then it kind of comes off in a less organic and natural way. And then this usually happens kapag bagong-bago ka pa, and then you're able to remember everything that you wrote down, and then you execute it well. And then eventually you get enough experience, you do enough drills, you put in enough hours in training where to the point where you can move around the ring and, go from spot to spot in a way that feels a lot more organic. And I just think that Zelina hasn't had that much ring time. She spent 10 years as a wrestler, but I don't think she spent all of those 10 years, just having some significant ring time. So that's why I feel like she was really booked around her strengths and whatever weaknesses she may have. So that's why the match was short. And it was thankfully so, because otherwise, if it went too long, she would get exposed. Diba? So that's, the failings of the local wrestling scene. We went too long. So na-expose tayo, kami,
Right.
rather, as inexperienced wrestlers. So when Rowan says it's a good match, it also was because it was of the right length for a wrestler like Zelina. And I hope that one day she can get even more experience and blossom further into the good wrestler I think she could be, because again, she hit her spots in a great way, and I think there's more where that came from.
Yeah, I think it also helps the fact she was really made to look like the underdog babyface with an insurmountable task ahead of her. Medyo bagay rin sa kanya because, Puerto Rican in Puerto Rico, and she's undersized, especially compared to someone like Rhea Ripley. So nung una, I didn't think she would be a believable babyface. Like when Legado suddenly turned face, diba? But I was proven wrong, and I'm happy to be proven wrong because we saw it right in front of our eyes when she competed against Rhea at Backlash.
I mean, yung Twitch firing pa lang. That's like the ultimate underdog there.
Oh, yeah. No lies were spoken there.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the other women's championship match, the Raw Women's title match between Bianca Belair and Io Sky. And let me just say, when I was calling this match, I was really shocked, as I'm sure you guys were, that Bianca just got showered with boos by the Puerto Rico crowd. Like, where the hell did that come from?
I have things to say about that. Pero first,
no, let's start with that. Kasi yun yung parang headline coming out of that match.
Okay, so I don't know why they booed. I just hope it wasn't a race thing. Kasi alam mo yun, diba? Sometimes Latinos, Latinas, Latinx, sometimes they could be racist against, but syempre, they're dark-skinned as well. Some of them are dark-skinned as well, so that kind of is weird if that is the case. Maybe what I'm really hoping was that Io was really just that good, and maybe they followed NXT nung black and gold pa, and then they remembered how great Io was as women's champion, something like that. But I don't understand it either. I'm trying to figure out why exactly Bianca was booed. Could it be also because of the fact that she has been champion for more than a year? I don't know. I guess we'll have to ask someone from San Juan.
Ito. Here's a question, just to posit things. Kasi diba, Io has history in Mexico, having competed there earlier in her career. Could it be that? Like yung lucha roots?
I don't know kasi how much Puerto Rico follows closely Mexican lucha libre. Kasi you don't go to Puerto Rico to watch lucha libre. I don't know if you heard this, but Corey and Cole, they were constantly referring to it as the birthplace of hardcore. Or one of the centers for hardcore wrestling. So I believe that was the signature Puerto Rican style, if not typical Western style wrestling. So I'm not quite sure if they also had a strong tie to the Mexican lucha scene.
Yeah, hindi ko talaga naintindihan. It was so weird. So anyway, the Bianca Io match was actually pretty fun.
Yes.
I did expect Io to put up a fight, which she did. And I was expecting Io at some point to pander more to the fans, especially after she'd received all of the hero reactions, diba, from the crowd, all the babyface reactions. We didn't exactly get that. But nothing much to complain about because that match was a great opener naman for what ended up being a very stacked show.
Yeah. One, the good stuff first. It was really, really good. I felt like Bianca and Io saw the Rhea Charlotte match and then said that they wanted to top it. Io is like the best dance partner that Bianca has had in this reign, in particular. Sakto kasi yung style, so that they're both really athletic, somehow really acrobatic, and they use that to their full advantage. So it was really, really good. And then the match length was also great. When I thought it was about to get to be over, they kept going, and then they just ramped up the drama even more, which is why the Puerto Rico crowd was so into it, and why eventually I think they came around to cheering Bianca again at the end. So nasalba naman niya yun. But I did feel that even though Bianca is a hell of an athlete, it did kind of expose her as an relatively inexperienced pro wrestler, because when she started getting booed, one, she got flustered, and two, she kept going and sticking to the plan as if nothing was wrong. So to me, kasi to us, when we are trained and drilled na if the crowd isn't reacting to you properly, it's time to switch things up. Kasi Bianca was supposed to be the babyface, and she was supposed to get unilateral cheers, right? So when that didn't happen, you're supposed to tweak something. I'm not calling for a full-blown double turn, because syempre, that's not the creative direction they were told to go out and do. But you gotta, and this is me divulging some of the secrets, sorry, Emil. You do have to make a little bit of adjustment. So when you hear that the crowd who is supposed to be rooting for you is now suddenly rooting for your opponent, you got to kind of lean into that a little bit, be a little more aggressive. Tapos Io should have given herself a little more to be the face in peril, or the wrestler in peril. in the match, and they just didn't do that. And Tamika said that was like the test for me to see if Bianca truly understood what it means to be a wrestler in her level at the moment. And you mentioned, Stan, to me that maybe the producers wouldn't have wanted her to do that. The producers are former wrestlers. They know exactly when to do that kind of thing. And that was the moment you kind of had to do that kind of thing. So it's a learning experience for Bianca. I know she hasn't been booed since her NXT days.
Yeah.
But now she will have to get used to it, especially when she has a monster year-plus long reign that not everyone is happy to see right now.
People might be confused bakit si Ro nag-allude to stuff that we talked about but haven't mentioned on the pod is because we spend the entire day breaking stuff down, talking about these things.
Yeah.
So so like after we had that conversation prior to recording the podcast, napag-isip-isip ko na parang, okay, I guess the takeaway there is by making those tweaks or those adjustments to the style you would have originally brought into the match, that's your way of really interacting with the crowd and acknowledging their reactions to you instead of closing yourself off na, hindi, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to be doing without listening to you.
And if you do that, kasi you're gonna risk ending up getting the Robin Sane treatment, diba? Like right. I'm right, so I will do things my way, the perceived quote unquote right way.
Mm-hmm. So there, some wrestling knowledge for you, Emil.
Sorry, Emil never got to talk. What did you think of this match, Emil?
No, I think y'all already have said everything that is needed to be said about this match. Again, it's a terrific opener, and I'm glad that it was given the time that it was allowed. Kasi less than 10 minutes wouldn't give this match justice. Kasi these two are two of the best talents that they have in the women's division right now. So I'm glad that Triple H let them cook, and we had ourselves a really great opening match at Backlash.
Yes, really quickly, I still think that these two are like the elite of the elite in the women's division right now. Like people say Impact has the best women's division, but WWE still has the elite of the elite women's division.
Yeah, more Bianca EO, please. They're on the same brand anyway. I just want more. All right, let's get to my pick of the week, which was the San Juan street fight between Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. Let's start with the entrance. Very emotional for everybody in the arena, just singing along to Chambea. And if you've never heard that song before, that was actually the first song na ginawa ni Bad Bunny na music video na may wrestling reference because freaking Ric Flair was in it. And that was before Ric Flair drip, right? So for context to people, nauna pa to sa Ric Flair drip. And I also loved yung giggle that both of these guys worked with, knowing that they weren't going to close out the show. Because about Ro, you and Chino were saying on the stream last week that no, these guys are closing the show. They're the main event.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No. The rumor. I saw the rumors. They were deliberating on yung main event, and this was in the running. So Chino and I were not off base there.
Right.
I guess the pull of Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar was just too strong, but I still stand by that, and I think a lot of people also stand by that. That the hometown boy, the hometown hero, should have ended the show, and that entrance alone proves it. For some reason, it was my first time hearing Chambea as well. I'm not gonna lie that say that I'm totally hip to everything Bad Bunny did. But even I was almost moved to tears by how the entire crowd was singing this one song that not everyone, outside outside Puerto Rico knows. So that was pretty fucking awesome, and goes to show you how important Benito was to a whole, society of people.
Yeah, to be fair, I will give credit to Rowan ASH because he actually recognized Chambea the moment Bad Bunny made his entrance. So good on Rowan for recognizing the song. Kasi it took me a while. Then when Rowan said Chambea, I was like, holy crap, it's the Ric Flair video. So dun ko na put 2 and 2 together, and then I mentioned it on commentary. But yeah, I think this performance really proves how legit Bad Bunny is. And I think he inches closer to Stephen Amell here. I still don't think he's better than Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
But he's very, very close now to Amell in the celebrity wrestler power rankings. And I loved yung interferences from Savio Vega and Carlito. Like, I popped huge for that. Great tribute to the history of Puerto Rico in wrestling as a whole, diba? Medyo walang kupa si Carlito, actually. I dare say he looks way better today than he did in his last WWE run towards the end. Yeah. Okay, a lot of people don't follow Carlito. Like, he was here in Manila in 2012, diba? Yeah. But he didn't start this body transformation yet. But for the relatively few people like me who did follow Carlito on social media, we know that he became Body Guy Lito. Yep. And a body guy, obviously, is a guy who really improved and worked on his body to have the best or some of the best aesthetics in pro wrestling. So, a lot of people, I think Carlito retired and let himself go, but he was really just wrestling in smaller promotions here and there. You know, just getting by. I think to go to syempre, as Sami Zayn said recently, he made a lot more money on the indies than in NXT when he was first signed. So I think that's a lucrative, or it's a sufficient enough lifestyle for Carlito. So I wasn't surprised that he looked that good. Yeah. It's something like I want to still be when I get to my 40s. So kudos to Carlito for being always ready. And I hope that it means that they really finally sign him again. Yeah, after Royal Rumble 2021, diba, we thought, oh, yeah, he's probably going to get another run. And then he didn't show up again. Then ito, bumalik siya. Carlito's more legit big body than big body Javi. So good on you, Carlito. Really love that moment. And si Tio Savio or Savio Vega also getting to have his moment both backstage and there in front of the crowd. It harkens back naman to his heyday with Los Boricuas in the Attitude Era. So really good stuff all around from the San Juan street fight, which I will agree with you guys, they should have closed the show. Yeah, and the Carlito, the Savio Vega, the Rey Mysterio run-ins, that was the Judgment Day run-ins. That shit is like bloodline level run-ins in a Roman Reigns match. So why couldn't it have closed the show? Yeah, plus Bad Bunny just getting all that love from the crowd, diba? Imagine what Zelina got, then amplify that by 100. That was what Benito got towards the end of his match. You said that he's not better than Stephen Amell and obviously Logan Paul and Pat McAfee. Yeah. But I will say that, some of the things Bad Bunny did in there, a lot better than actual wrestlers I've seen. You could also be in where, but better than some of them. Yeah, Bad Bunny is fucking awesome, man. Sorry, Emil.
I just want to say, who had Savio Vega appearing in 2023 in their bingo card?
I think a lot of people did.
Bingo card because
they did go to Puerto Rico.
Okay, that's okay. Maybe that's my fault because I would have no idea who he is really.
I would forgive that if you meant the other two Colognes who are some of the best wrestlers I've seen in my book and deserve more love. Kasi syempre, the most popular Cologne right now is Carlito. Yeah, I mean outside of Carlos Colon for like the real old fans.
Yeah, and again, nung pumasok si Carlito, bigla ko naalala how good his theme song actually is, and hindi ko kasi siya naabutan
that's fine.
When I became a wrestling fan already, but when he made that entrance in that pop, that theme song, I got reminded of how good it was. So just great match overall, and it should have made. I agree with you guys. It should have made evented.
Mm-hmm. So I'm so grateful na Carlito spat in the face of Dom, who didn't want to be cool, because he let me get to say ginusto mo yan so organically on commentary.
Yeah, and a reminder, it's almost 20 years since Carlito first spit his apple. So that makes me feel really old.
Take nyo na yung mga maintenance meds nyo.
Yeah.
Actually mine.
God.
All right, so there. Those are our picks of the week. Obviously, more than half of them came from Backlash, which just happened a few days ago, rather. So go let us know what your picks of the week are. And then in a couple of days, when we regroup for the live stream Thursday at 7 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube, we will convene once more as one wrestling podcast community. We will go to church and talk wrestling.
Yes.
Until then, please keep following the podcast at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok, and at Wrestling Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Spotify. Don't forget the Night of Champions viewing party happening on May 28, Manila time at 1 a.m. sa Hobby Stadium. Snack.ph/GeekTalkPH for your tickets. And if you want to keep talking shop with us individually, it is at Ro is War, at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. Thank you very much to all of our babyface producers at Podcast Network Asia for the work that they do behind the scenes. And on behalf of Emil, ASH, and Romaran, my name is Stan C, saying stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast. Out. Bye-bye.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed by the podcast creators, hosts, and guests do not necessarily reflect the official policy and position of Podcast Network Asia, the hosts of the program, or other programs of the network. Any content provided by the people on the podcast are of their own opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, individual, or anyone or anything.